All right, welcome everybody to the Parliament of Pros macro update, weekly market chat with my good brother Chris. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing good. Just been busy farming, watching the markets, trying to figure out what's causing things to go up and down, checking out a new couple of protocols and farms, all the normal stuff.
Man, what's funny about that? I have
So,
my buddy Marco. We have this running joke. So, Mark Zuckerberg,
yep.
and up until like 2 years ago, a year ago, he was socially awkward, just this awkward guy. And now he's like going to UFC fights and wearing big black T-shirts and chains and glasses indoors. And we have this joke where I feel like he's just trying to be normal. And we're like, man, you see Mark Zuckerberg asking how you doing? Just trying to be normal.
Just trying to be normal. I don't know if Elon Musk would ever say that or not.
I don't think he would, but Mark Zuckerberg definitely seems like he would. Anyway, so it's been a crazy week, like you said. Markets have been really, really volatile. And the cool thing is we got another rate cut, and the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, signaled that QT is officially over. And we also had a situation where the Board of Governors disagreed on policy, rate cut policy again. That hadn't happened since 1993, a few months ago. And it seems like ever since it happened a few months ago, it's been happening every time. And, normally with a second rate cut, you think the market will be bullish and with inflation down, relatively speaking. But I think that the uncertainty amongst the governors is the biggest reason why markets hasn't just taken off, because this is like really bullish news. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy, man. What's your thoughts around that?
I think there's probably always been some dissension in the ranks, and they just never told nobody. I've been in a couple of juries in my life. It takes an arm and a leg to make people, decide the fate of a case. And I can only just imagine just getting up and seeing those people for like years on end. You're like, I just don't like you, dude. I'm going to disagree with your policy, and it's, and then at the very end, the committee chair's like, we're just not going to tell anybody about this. This is how it's going to be, So I don't know if it's ever been 100% unanimous, but when I did listen to the speech, I saw what happened to the price. I saw as soon as they said there's some dissension in the voting and the rate cut wasn't necessarily guaranteed for December, then the whole market dipped crazy wick. And then by the end of the call, it was already climbing back up nicely. And I got a really good trade going during that time, just because I like day trading on the side. And then and I was in some really, really good profit. And then it wasn't until later when the Trump and President Xi, I guess, decided to get together and markets started going down big and in a big way, heavy, right straight down.
Yeah, there's a running meme on Twitter where it's like support and resistance, and it's the president of China and what's Russia's Vladimir Putin,
yeah,
holding up the bottom of the chart, and Donald Trump's just sitting on top of it, sleep. So just like quick summary of the meeting. So labor market's been weakening and inflation remains somewhat elevated, and the data kind of suggests that the outlook hasn't changed. And they're saying like, oh, it's not for sure that we're going to cut rates in December. And I think that's like the biggest uncertainty that kind of spooked the markets. Job gains have slowed significantly this year. Higher tariffs have resulted in overall inflation, and that 100% tariff on China is gone. So that's good news, but the market isn't pumping off that. It's like the market is kind of like the boy who cried wolf. It's like, oh, whatever. Printing $100 billion, we don't care. We're still just way down. And then, yeah, we already talked about how they disagree. But what the biggest news is that we have confirmation that QT is over. That doesn't mean that QE is going to start immediately, but just the fact that it's over, it means that the trend is changing. So that makes me even more bullish going into the end of the year, early next year. I think that now what everyone's waiting for is the Fed balance sheet expansion, right? And we're going to pop open that chart, but just to kind of explain it to you guys who are watching, the Federal Reserve balance sheet is just like any other balance sheet. It records everything it owns, such as, assets like treasury bonds, mortgage-backed securities, whatever they own, and everything it owes. So these are liabilities like bank reserves and cash in circulation. So when the Federal Reserve expands their balance sheet, it means that they're actually buying financial assets usually U.S. Treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, and then they're actually paying with them with newly created reserves, like new money, right? So they create dollars, they're using to buy bonds, and then it injects liquidity into the financial system. So they'll buy bonds from banks or financial institutions, right? The sellers receive newly created reserves, cash in their bank accounts, and then those reserves increase the money supply and it reduces short-term interest rates. So with more cash and lower yields, investors actually start searching for higher returns, and this is what makes stocks in crypto and corporate bonds more attractive. So it's kind of like a daisy chain, or like more like a waterfall, to where I wouldn't even call it a waterfall, because given that the stock market is already at all-time highs, I think people would be a little bit more resistant shortly. Like we already see the M2 money supply kind of ticking up. I think that's really what's going to make things kind of take off.
We can hope. I just want it to take off. I'm kind of tired of these sideways.
Yeah. If we look at the central bank balance sheet, it's kind of flatlining, right? They were offloading assets from their balance sheet. So we talked about balance sheet expansion. They were contracting their balance sheet for the longest time. They were actually selling assets, right? Increasing the supply. Now they're kind of flatlining, like you said. We're starting to see the trend change. We're starting to see our 62 starting to flatten out, and eventually this is going to start going up. All right, you have the M2 money supply still going up. We're all-time highs. Gold had a pretty big correction from 4,300, although it has been a tick up in the past couple of days, and then you just see red and along the markets, like S&P still around all-time highs, still around all-time highs for the Dow, still around all-time highs for the NASDAQ. And if we look at Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down to around like the 97K level. We saw Ethereum kind of drop. It's still just kind of creating a floor out of the previous local highs, which is, I think, is bullish. Honestly, just creating a strong base. And then we're also creating a strong base around previous all-time highs throughout the entire crypto market. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, man, we had that huge spike up, and it's kind of been trending upwards. And then we got the ETH to BTC ratio starting to break down as well. So I don't know, man. If you ask me, I think it's a shakeout, to be honest with you. We hit our first take profit level on Tipper, so I took a good amount of profits. And I waited. Like, I remember we were on the call the other day, and you're like, oh, we're going to wait on this announcement. And I was going to buy in yesterday, but I'm glad I didn't. Something told me to wait another day. So I went shopping today. I picked up some more Zora, some more native. We were talking the other day about native, and then it was up 75%. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, but then it promptly went back down again.
Yeah, it probably went right back down with everything else. But they are shipping on Twitter, and they're burning tokens, and they're starting to do like weekly podcast or weekly spaces or whatever. I think daily. So yeah, man, things are looking good, man. How's everything been with your pools? I know you've been kind of struggling. Anything kind of stand out?
One of my best performers is that's been an awesome farm to be in. So even with all of the volatility, it's been in range the entire time. So, right. And that's on Meteora with the slightly smaller range. So nice. Fees have been good. So that one's getting like 0.7% a day. So definitely recommend that one. I had to go really wide. I positioned myself before FOMC, and I went all the way down to 180 for the bottom, and I'm glad I did. So even today we fell out of 180 for a little bit, but we're back in it now, and that one's earning as it should be. We're at 186, so we're good. Let me check my Zora pools real quick. So number one on non-Solana has actually been, I've been rocking and rolling over there. I got in on the previous dip that happened, not this dip, but the dip right before it. And I opened a pool from like 43 to 47. And today's action really cranked out the fees in that really tight range. And we're completely positive in terms of liquidity because we're higher than the entry point. I went into that one with 100% that I bought at 43.5, and we're at 45.84 right now. So that one's just been printing big time. Then of course is there. I'm still waiting for it to get back to my entry point, even though the fees have been really, really good.
How's that been going?
268% APR.
Wow, that's good, man.
Yeah, the investment is down, so there's still a drawdown from our entry point, but the fees have been good.
It popped up above it for a quick second and then came right on back.
Yeah, I was quite happy. I was like, "Oh, look, it's 10 grand." No,
it's like, look, the squirrel. Oh, it died.
Yeah, it's like nope. And then for AI narrative, still been doing fantastic. It's not the best performer in AI right now in terms of percentages, but in terms of market cap and engagement, it's still the leader. Zora ETH still been printing, although values are down, but it's still printing over 200% APR on that. I just wish the price of both tokens would go back up, and it looks like it is. So
quick little fun thing on Zora. I was looking at some Coinbase data because I'm just like trying to, when I go to go discount shopping, like today when I was buying the dip, I always check to see what's the most current with the project. Like I went on Native's Twitter, I'm like, yeah, these motherfuckers still building this thing, and I was happy. And then I was looking into Zora. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, obviously we all know that the base is in beta, right? And Coinbase they have their Coinbase wallet, which is gonna be the base app, super app, right? It's people call it super apps. You have the base chain, and then you have the Coinbase exchange. So just to give some numbers, for this base beta, they're only allowing around 20% of wallet users to use it. So it's around 300K users on the base app. All right. The actual wallet has 1.5 million users. The base chain has 218 million accounts, and Coinbase, the exchange, actually has 120 million monthly users. Just to kind of show some metrics, because this is man, once this thing opens up, and obviously we know they got to fix the UI. It has to be to Sir Isaac Chris Newton's liking, but I think they'll be able to get there. But just to look at some of this here, this is doing analytics. You have total value bridge to base. It's billions per day in ETH and altcoins, and millions in stable coins, and pretty much that's it. The value bridge goes up and down, but what's important is that the revenue is constantly going up. Yeah, weekly revenue, and then new users, right? So while the new users is 315,000 coming on around daily, the users that are still there is constantly going up. Daily transactions is also going up, as well as cumulative transactions. And then the daily active users is kind of been trending down, but it's still really, really high. So I'm saying all that to say that Zora is powering the social media portion of the base app. So that means all the revenue that the base app gets from anything social media, Zora gets a piece of it. So I'm really bullish on that. And then I'm not sure if you were able to hop it in the open XAI pool or not. That was another thing I wanted to ask you about. But they've been really building as well. I went on their Twitter, and they're starting to do hackathons and things like that. So they led a workshop, hackathon, node integration, real-time AI inference. They had 150 students building on it, and this looks pretty cool, man. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. So when the base app opens, and the most important thing for a chain is getting devs, right? Because they have to build what people are going to use. I don't know why this isn't going to load, so I'm just going to exit out. So if they keep doing stuff like this, they keep shipping, they keep making partnerships, I think Zora and OpenXAI will fly. And OpenXAI's market cap is way less than Zora's. So yeah, man,